Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about Mercury Retrograde because that starts on Sunday the 18th and it's going to last until about the 8th of January, and this is a period that there's a lot of misunderstanding about it, and appropriately you get a lot of misunderstanding in communication. Mercury is the planet of communication, of commerce, and we're used to him when he's direct because it's easy to focus on the information right in front of us. One of the downsides of Mercury direct, though, is we can become very one-track minded. We can be very focused on what we're doing right in front of us, so we miss everything else that's going on around us. Now, the information going on around us is still entering our minds, but it's going straight into the subconscious, so we don't acknowledge the information that's coming in. And this is where Mercury retrograde really comes in. So when it goes retrograde, it's a shift from attention to awareness. So we have to slow down properly, stop focusing all our attention on what's happening right in front of us, and allow our intuitive minds to take over, or rather to allow it to speak to us. Because all the information that we've gathered over the past few months will be stored in our mind somewhere, but if we're too focused on the task in front of us, we miss the information which can show us a better way of being. Now, with Mercury being retrograde in Capricorn, the test here is all about integrity. So Capricorn is our public persona, if you like. It's who we're known as in public. But to really become the best version of that, we have to know our private selves, who we really are, and allow that to merge with our public persona so that the two are seamless. We're not living a double life where we're having a job in one area but it doesn't truly reflect who we are. So during the Mercury retrograde, we might find a lot of information coming to us which forces us to reevaluate what is it that we're doing, what are we working towards, is it truly in line with who we are, and are we prepared to make changes to our public persona so that we can be true to ourselves. And this isn't necessarily easy, precisely because we have a lot of social pressure from the status quo. Everyone's used to being a certain way, used to being focused in operating one way, and have Mercury coming along saying, there's a better way here if you just open your mind and listen to the information that's really out there. But to do that, we have to be in reflective moods. Mercury retrograde is not the best time to be making decisions, because it's a time of gathering information. A new seed gets planted in our mind for a better way of being, but we have to really slow down and turn inwards to assess, okay, does what we're doing actually feel right for us? Is it a true reflection of who we are, or have we just passively accepted a role and given away our willpower in the process in order to fulfill this particular role? So that's the main focus for Mercury retrograde. We are in a point in time where the Mercury retrograde is transitioning out of the Earth cycle into the fire cycle. So whilst we're finishing off the Earth cycle, it's all about getting the material resources or the material basis of life in order, because oddly enough, the more organised we become in on the material side of life, the more time we free up to become spontaneous beings again, to allow our creativity to flow. But we have to have the courage to change the material basis of life, as much as we may feel a lot of resistance towards doing that. But it's not a time to make rash decisions. So just because something doesn't necessarily feel right doesn't mean you should suddenly quit things. It's time to really pause and honestly reflect. So it may be time that you need to ask higher power what is the best course of action to take. Because if you just ask yourself, you're just going to get a response from your ego. You're just going to get a chain of thoughts from your ego saying, well, I don't like this, don't like that, it's too difficult, not good enough. And we may miss some gifts of what's really going on around us. But we do have to be honest about ourselves, about when are we doing something almost out of martyrdom, because things have to be honest. You look around us and we can see what years of pretending to be something that we're not has done to us, we end up being a shadow side of ourselves, and it's just not a pleasant place to be, because you just feel insecure. You're looking outside of yourself to try and figure out what's the best thing to do is. You're comparing yourself with others, and that can knock your self-esteem as well. So the only remedy for that is to turn inwards and look at ourselves, stop comparing ourselves to others, and really ask ourselves, who are we? What niche can we carve in society that is an accurate reflection of who we are? Because only by being who we are that we can really give away and share our gifts with society. Now, it takes a lot of courage to do that, but it's worth the price. People may not understand you when you're doing it, but when you are authentic to yourself and you actually do stuff you care about, it just means so much more. Your heart feels open and loving, and you just care about what you're doing. You pour your passion into it. So this is a time with Mercury retrograde to really reflect on this side of things. Is going down the same track that we've been going for a while really productive for who we are, or do we need to seriously consider making changes and start researching other ways of living our lives, other livelihoods that we can forge based on the gifts and talents that we have? And once we've gathered all the information during the course of the Mercury retrograde, once he turns direct, then it's time to start thinking about what actions can we take. So general advice for Mercury retrograde, which I imagine most people have heard, is avoid signing contracts if you can, because the terms and conditions may not be what they seemed when you first signed the agreement. Things may change. I mean, at the end of the day, most people do not like change, but it's a part of life. It's a universal law. Paradoxically, change is the one true constant. So in order for us to grow, we have to be prepared to change and to make the hard decisions of deciding, are we prepared to stop doing something that we may have been doing for years because it's just what we've passively accepted over time, and we've chosen to accept less than what we're worth. And it's a time to really think, what changes can I make in my life to have much more integrity, to be true to who I am, so that when people see me, it's a case of what you see is what you get. Not easy doing that. The idea of being authentic scares most people, because there's a lot of peer pressure to avoid doing it. But if we want to achieve true freedom, then we have to be prepared to be misunderstood and to do things which are in line with who we are, but other people may not like it. That being said, we have to make sure that what we're doing isn't going to hurt other people. So this isn't an excuse to go on an ego trip. It must be guided by the soul, because the soul knows what the best thing to do is, but most of the time we don't necessarily listen to what it's trying to tell us. But if we open up to the eye of the soul, we'll see what we should be doing. We'll tap into the vision of Sagittarius from the previous sign, and we'll start taking actions to ground that vision into reality and align ourselves with that higher vision. So that's the main focus of Mercury retrograde. It's not something to fear. Yes, it may feel inconvenient because the stuff that you take for granted, like your electronics, start malfunctioning, but all that's really doing is it's the universe trying to get your attention to slow down and actually reflect. Stop looking outside yourself and start looking inwards for the answers, because most of the answers that we need are already within us. Sometimes we may need to speak to another person for that answer to emerge from within ourselves, but we are wiser than we give ourselves credit for. And if we pay attention to the soul as opposed to the drive of the ego, then we become much better beings. So I hope that's a helpful perspective on Mercury retrograde, and I hope it proves fruitful in showing you how you can be a better version of yourself and how you can gain more integrity. So take care, make the most of Mercury retrograde, and I hope it brings many blessings for you.